Boro win, they're 4 from 4, top of the league with 3 clean sheets. Hayden Hackney is staying, David Strelic is coming. Bloody hell, it's good to be a Boro fan right now. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and let's savour what is at the moment a fantastic time to be a Boro fan, as we made it 4 wins from 4, and I think we've now equalled our best start to a season ever. We did exactly this, I believe, in 94-95, a season that did end in promotion, so a good omen, we like to hope. But Boro continued their perfect start to their championship season with a 1-0 win over Sheffield United, courtesy of a second half winner by Tommy Conway. And it was a game to which it was another 1-0 win, another clean sheet, but there were so many more improvements in this game that I think were the biggest positives to take away from this game. Of course, we've been winning, we've been brilliant, at times maybe a bit fortunate, but I think what we saw in this game today was an improved Boro performance, where at home we were the team on the front foot, the team who were dominating, the team who looked the most likely, while also being so solid at the back. It was absolutely amazing. And the best thing about this, even though we have won all 4 games, and there's been some fantastic moments in every single one of them games, and the defence has been outstanding throughout, this was another step forward for Boro and another clear and obvious improved performance, which is the biggest positive to take away. We could have been there all week, and I don't think Sheffield United would have troubled us. I don't think they ever looked like troubling Boro's defence. We were just so solid it was untrue. But the one big thing I wanted to see, I think more so comparing it from the Swansea game on the opening day, was that at home we see an improved performance, because of course we did win at home on the opening day, but it wasn't a great game. We nicked it via a set piece. We've done really well to dig in and win the 2 away games. When it comes to being at the Riverside, at home, you really want to see us be the dominant team on the front foot, taking it to the opposition, being a bit more creative, and we were. We were much, much better today in all areas, really, and let's be honest, it should have really been 2 or 3. We should have had the game done and dusted well before the end, and that's probably the only bit of constructive criticism you could probably say about this game. Boro should have won it by more. But let's take a look at the starting 11 then, because there was the one change that we suspected there would be. It was, of course, replacing Finn Azaz, and for the first time, FootMob, congratulations, has actually gotten Boro's formation and setup correct. But it wasn't Sverre Nipan who started, as I thought, or as I predicted. It was Sontje Hansen who started for Finn Azaz, who of course has now left the club. And I thought we were very good in the opening exchanges, in the opening half. Boro, I thought, were the much better team. And Sheffield United, the one thing I was worried about was their individual quality. And I think with Sheffield United at the moment, they are just in such a bad moment. It felt like this was a really good time to play them, but I was still very, very wary of their individual quality, and just if Boro weren't at it, they've got players who can, in moments, win you a game. But we saw of Sheffield United, I think, what's plagued them all season. They were the worst team we've come across in our opening 4 games, and for all the great individuals that they've got, whatever Sellers is asking them to do, they just don't look like a cohesive team at all. They look like 11 individuals who are trying to knit together a way of playing that is just not working at all. And Boro were just quite easily able to manage the game, manage their centre forwards. I mean, at times we were getting down the sides in the first half with ease. We were surpassing them, bypassing their midfield like it wasn't even there. And that's kind of what we heard coming into the game. You know, O'Hare and Hamer, they're good individuals going forward, but we were just so easily getting into their defensive third, getting down the side. You know, our 10s and our midfielders were combining really well with our wing-backs. We were getting down the sides time and time again and getting into some fantastic areas. You know, it must have been 5, 6, 7 times Boro got into the wide areas, put the ball in the box to some really good areas. But we just didn't have the right player in the right place at the right time, and it was just that final little bit of quality that was just lacking in the first half for Boro. You know, the build-up play was brilliant, much better than what we've seen in the opening home game at the very least, you know, home to Swansea, as I mentioned. The one big thing I've noticed that we've changed as well, in the opening couple of games, in the opening game especially in pre-season, we were playing completely surpassing our midfield. Like, our midfield were basically not involved in the game. We were playing it straight from centre-backs into the 10s and trying to connect with the wing-backs that way. We're not doing that anymore. Rob Edwards has clearly recognised that in order to get the best out of this team, you have to involve Hayden Hackney and Aidan Morris, and we're starting to play, at least in possession, a lot like what we were doing under Michael Carrick. We're trying to play through the midfield, them nice little neat combinations, but obviously we're trying to then use the wing-backs to have that width, and it just paid dividends. You know, they were so good. We bossed the midfield. The wing-backs were so much more effective than what they have been in recent games. Silvera getting down one side, cutting inside. I think he clipped the post first half when he cut back and had a curved effort that come really, really close to going in. Callum Britton, we'll get on to individuals. He had his best game by a mile in a Boro shirt today. He seems to be really settling into his role in this team now. He got forward so often, provided us with width so much, and it was so easy for us. That's the thing. It was so easy for us to get our players forward and build into their defensive third. They just weren't offering any resistance until we got in to their box, and as I say, it was them final few little bits that were just lacking in that first half. If Boro had been a little bit better in the final third, maybe we'd carved open a few bigger opportunities. So we didn't really test Cooper as much as we should have in that first half, but we bossed it. We were the dominant side, and we certainly had the best of the territory. We just didn't quite create that one moment. The big talking point, though, in that first half was a tackle by Sidney Peck, and, well, you'll see on screen, it was a horror tackle, and I have no idea what game the referee was watching, but he certainly wasn't watching our game, because it is one of the worst tackles I've seen in a while. And, you know, Norwich had a man sent off last week for what I think was less, albeit that should have been a red, and rightfully it was. This was worse, and you just want continuity and consistency, and the referee was right there. I don't know why he didn't give a red card. I don't know what he saw. Was it because it was too early in the game? He didn't feel like he could give it. It doesn't matter. It is a horror tackle. You know, he's over the ball, his stud just showing, and if Silvera's foot was planted any more into the turf, he could have snapped his ankle, quite honestly. It's just an awful challenge, and it's not even one of them where, you know, you need to see it in slow motion to see that it was a bad one. In real time, you could see it was a bad one. It was an awful tackle, and Sidney Peck can consider himself massively, massively lucky, as should Sheffield United, that they weren't down to 10 men in the first half. It was a terrible, terrible tackle. But we went into half-time, maybe a little bit regretful that we didn't make some of them great moments that we carved open count. We didn't really test the goalkeeper enough. As I say, a couple of shots that were blocked, a couple of half chances, but nothing major. You're just hoping second half Boro don't regret them missed chances. You know, we're not going to allow Sheffield United to grow into the game, because I was always worried that Harmer or O'Hare or Campbell would create a moment from absolutely nothing. The only moment they did create really came from Boro. You know, in the first half, Hayden Hackney trying to play out. I think he tried to square it to Alfie Jones, it may have been, who was, you know, wrong-footed, wasn't expecting it. He then made up for it, though, Hackney, with a fantastic block from Campbell. That is literally the only big chance of note Sheffield United had in the entire game. And it was a case of second half, can we make our dominance count? Can we get that goal? Can we find that piece of quality? And then something happened at half-time which nearly made me fall off my chair. We had a manager who made not one, but two substitutions at half-time, and they paid dividends, both of them in Boro's goal. How good is it to see a manager make a change at half-time? Now, I don't know if the change for Silvera was because he took 3 or 4 really heavy challenges in that first half, and maybe he was just hurting a little bit. He was a bit battered and bruised, but Matt Targett come on for him, and he did say after the game as well, Sonty Janssen was only ever expected to maybe play 45 minutes to 55 minutes, so maybe they were always the planned enforced changes, but regardless, he made them, and they paid dividends with Boro's first goal. Sverre Nepen turned, played the ball into Matt Targett, and I'll hold my hands up. I wasn't massively that emotional one way or the other by the Matt Targett signing. I was kind of I just took it for what it was. Although, we did say in the video he will bring that little bit of Premier League quality. My God, did he? Because his pass for Tommy Conway was perfect. An amazing through ball by Matt Targett. In that position, your wing back can sometimes take a touch, look up, carry it, cut inside. He didn't. He saw the ball instantly. He played it early. I think that's the benefit of having a left footer on the left-hand side as well, because he could play that sort of infield ball, that in-swinging ball. But it was on a plate for Tommy Conway, who timed his run to perfection. And this is what we want to see more of with Conway. He's not as involved, I guess, in the game as he was maybe before. With Boro, he's got to do a little bit more running, a little bit more pressing, more off the ball stuff, holding it up, bringing others into play. But it's good to see him making that running behind, perfectly timed, and then with his weaker foot, he buries it in the bottom corner. And Boro finally got the goal that I think we massively, massively deserved, and we finally got ourselves in front. And then for the rest of the game, it was a case of managing it, and we've seen this Boro team do that really, really well. And once again, I don't want to keep making comparisons to the Boro team of last season and the Boro team of recent times, but I just had so much more faith that we were going to see it through. Even when the 7 minutes went up at the end, I just felt like we always just had it under control. The midfield, the defence, they didn't look troubled. Ings had a shot from a mile out that went wide. There were a couple of shots they had that were blocked, but we never gave them anything of note. We defended the set pieces, the throw-ins, the corners really, really well, and we saw it out. We saw the game out, and as I say, the only slight annoyance was that we didn't make it 2 or 3, and trust me, Delano Bergzorg did his absolute best, and if Sheffield United had have equalised, I think Bergzorg would have been lynched, because second half, I mean, the amount of times he was played through in on goal, 1v1, and my God, he just fluffed it every single time. He cut back when he should have shot, he didn't pass when he should have passed. His decision making in them moments was just terrible. And I felt like tearing my hair out at times. The amount of huge 1v1 chances he had that he completely bottled. I mean, there was one moment where he should have played in our new signing, Kali Sene, and he didn't. I'm just so grateful for his sake that we didn't come back to sort of regret that, and we didn't see them moments bite us on the arse in the second half. And you could see visibly after full time, he was on his back, head in his hands. He knew he should have done better in them moments. He knew he should have had a goal or two. That was the only annoyance, is that we didn't finish Sheffield United off, and we maybe made it a little bit more difficult than what it needed to be. But yeah, another really good performance by Boro. Another really good, solid team performance. The defence never looked troubled at all. I mean, the difference from last season is night and day. Bryn didn't have to do anything. It was just another unbelievably solid defensive performance. The midfield too, just once again, bossed the game. Hackney and Morris, man. Aidan Morris was absolutely everywhere. He was so good in that midfield. But the key thing today, we saw better from Boro. On the ball, in possession, building up through midfield, creating good chances. We just needed to see a little bit better, I guess, in them final moments in that final third as well. But the stats tell you that it was a much better game for Boro, much more creative. The XG was just over 1 as well, so we warranted the goal that we got. We didn't allow Sheffield United barely anything, not a single shot on target. I think maybe one of their players had a big chance towards the end of the game. Was it Brooks? Was it Chong? I can't quite remember. It might have even been McCallum. I don't know. They had a cross back post that he skied. That was their only really big moment at the end as well. But yeah, statistically, Boro bossed it. 6 shots on target. Limited them to basically 0. I think the numbers will tell you Boro by far deserved the victory. And what else I really liked as well about Boro is that we're not predictable. Sometimes we'll play through the midfield. Sometimes we'll try and play through the middle. Sometimes we'll try and play out wide with the wing backs. Other times we'll just play direct. We'll use a long diagonal ball. The amount of times them long diagonal balls would get Silvera in or Callum Britton in. The wing backs getting in behind, getting us 50, 60 yards up the pitch. I just like the versatility in our play and how effective it is, and that we're not just stuck to one constant, repetitive style of play. So yeah, things are looking good at Boro. They're looking really good at the minute, and a huge credit to Rob Edwards and his team, as I keep saying, for turning, what pre-season was, no one expected anything. On paper, the start looked so tough. We could not have asked for a better start, and also the performances and the game management, the substitutes, it's everything we've been wanting. And another thing, before I forget as well, and we go on to the players, the atmosphere today at the Riverside was the best it's been for as long as I can remember. Honestly, it was deafening in that stadium today. And I, when Edwards come in, we said, if things get going and they go well, he is the sort of manager Boro fans can connect with. We could be the sort of team that he can really connect with, and I think we've started to see that, because the atmosphere towards the end of that game, just from the whole stadium, roaring the teams on, cheering every tackle, pushing them forward, just trying to help them see out the game. And then at the end, when stoppage time, the roar that went when Bryn would collect the ball or would clear a ball, or even when the final whistle went, the north stand, where I sit, normally it's all from the south, and that's where the noise comes from, but the atmosphere from the entire ground was deafening, and the celebrations after the full-time whistle, it was as good as it's been for a long time, and long may it continue. I've not come out the Riverside feeling as good as this for a very long time, so credit to Edwards for creating that, and for the boys for delivering on the pitch, and the fans were great as well. It's not been this good for a long time, and I just hope, as I say, keep Hayden Hackney. Strelic is coming. We said it. Strelic's coming as well. We don't get carried away, of course, it's Boro, but let's just savour these moments while they're here. So finally, just discussing the starting 11. I mean, we could go through a number of players individually, but again, as I say, Bryn didn't have to make a save, really, but sometimes he come out, he punched, he caught, he again looked the part. The back three, I thought, were great. A huge little shout out to Luke Ayling, by the way. 600 career appearances, and he was just immense. His form this season has been tremendous. Bringing him back into a more centre, right centre half, he's been amazing. And him, Fry, and Alfie Jones, what a revelation of a signing he's been as well. Such a great defender. Another outstanding pickup as well. Lots of credit's got to go at the wing back. Silvera as well for the first half. Hope he's okay after that challenge. Callum Britton with his best performance in a Boro shirt. Give us great width. And I can't speak any more highly of the midfield duo of Hayden Hackney and Aidan Morris. The best midfield in the league? I think so. Aidan Morris was everywhere. He is just such an incredible player. Honest to God. Having them two in that midfield, it makes such a difference. And then up front as well, Whittaker maybe didn't have his best game again. He was in and out. Hansen had a decent first half. I thought Neepen had a very good second half, looked really good on the ball, made some really good blocks and challenges off its second half as well. But again, it's so important to see Tommy Conway score. It's so important to see him get on the score sheet, considering he's not as involved. He got a good goal last time out. Another really good finish here. And the substitutes, as I say, really, really good from Boro as well, and from Rob Edwards. Matt Targett come on, got a great assist. Nipan, Sene, he looked good. Really good, promising cameo from him. He held the ball up well, carried it well. He's got so much pace as well. There was times where he was beating centre-backs. He was really good. Let's not talk about Bergzorg. He's just lucky we won the game today, because his cameo probably couldn't have gone any worse, to be honest. He did everything he could to stop us from doubling our lead and winning the game. Also, huge credit to Darrell Enahan. His first appearance in 2 years in a league game for Boro, and he come on at the end as well, which was a lovely moment too. So, amongst all the other good stuff, let's just end on this. Boro are the outright league leaders in the championship. Top of the league, the only team with a 100% record, 12 points from 12, 7 goals and only 1 conceded. Incredible. West Brom sits second with 3 points clear of Stoke and Leicester. Then you've got Coventry, Bristol City following up to make up the rest of the top 6. Brilliant. Brilliant. Nothing left to say. The content won't stop coming though, guys, over the international break. As we say, me and Chris always do a monthly roundup of Boro and their fixtures this season, and we're going to be back at some point midweek next week. I think we're recording on Tuesday. We're going to be getting back together to have a little review of Boro's opening 4 games and laughing at how wrong we were with our predictions, as well as them predicting the next block of games. But that's not the only podcast that's coming over the international break, because me and Chris are going to be recording again at the end of next week, and we're going to be joined by Craig Johns from the Gazette to review Boro's transfer window as well, and talk about all the transfers, the ins, the outs, the near misses, and have a little bit more of an in-the-know insight from him. So there's loads of good stuff to come over the international break. And if that excites you and you're not already subscribed, hit the subscribe button. If you haven't already, like the video as it really supports the channel. Leave me a comment below with your thoughts. And as I always say, you can listen to these videos on the go as a podcast if you'd rather do so via the link tree in the description. But until next time, guys, Handsome Rob's Reds, or Rob's Handsome Reds, continue to march on with a 100% record. Here's hoping we can make it 5 from 5 when we come back after the international break, when we head to Preston, a game I'll be at, where hopefully once again I'll be reviewing it, previewing it, and giving you guys a matchday vlog as well. It's all happening, and it's all just wonderful here on the channel, as well as obviously lots of stuff to come in between now and deadline day. There should be an incoming, a rather exciting one, maybe a couple of outgoings as well. Hopefully they're just fringe player outgoings and nobody major. But until next time, guys, take care. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.